Hello and welcome to this episode of the MediaTech Podcast. We are in Houston this week, which is a change for me. I'm from Dallas, and first time I get to experience this campus, and it's great. We've got Arian Rivers here with us. He's the head of career services down here in Houston. And let's hear a little bit about your background with MediaTech.
I am a MediaTech alumni as well. I graduated from our recording arts program in 2016. And I graduated from our animation in 2017.
Wow, that's cool, man. So, good. What'd you like about the different programs?
Music is my passion. Well, I won't say music, but I guess engineering is my passion. Like, I love being behind the scenes. I love being creative in those ways and mixing, mastering. I'm a music producer. I'm just involved in music in so many different ways, and it's pretty cool to just go from being an artist at one point to producing to managing to engineering, and then now I'm a teacher. It's I don't know, it's so weird and it's cool.
It must have been cool to see your career grow like that.
Yeah,
you know?
But not just that, just being here at MediaTech, seeing all of the people that I went to school with, and then progressively just watching so many different people grow and being able to teach people certain things, and I love being here.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So today on this podcast, we're going to talk a little bit about career placement, and we're going to touch a couple of topics. First, we're going to talk about how to best find a career and prepare yourself for a career in whether it be audio production, film, animation, etc. And then we're going to talk a little bit about the job market in Houston in particular.
Okay.
So when you have someone that's about to graduate, and you could tell that their skills are, really up to par with how you might find an intro job out in the real world, what qualities of that person are you most looking for?
Confidence, for sure. And then preparation. Like, it's very important that our students take these courses serious. Yeah. And it's not until I get them for the business communication class that I realize how serious they are. And it's just like literally taking everything that they're learning and applying it and really absorbing that information. And I don't know how much they think about being employed like once they enroll. Yeah. But by the time that they graduate, it's like, oh, wait. Oh, this is real. I need a job. So I think that's the most important thing. Like, I just, being aware of how important, and just the different options of employment, just the different possibilities, like the different places you can work, not being so pigeonholed to one particular thing, or just the mindset of being pigeonholed to one particular thing, especially when it comes to recording arts. And then being in the Houston market, you kind of have to be creative a little bit when it comes to like other things as far as our digital film and animation. Gotcha. And
I like what you said about pigeonholing sort of your expectations of where you want to go. I think one thing that was important for me was I realized pretty early on in regards to film that I'm not going to graduate and go work on the Avengers, right? Like it's a process.
Yeah, it is.
And I think that you really have to, if you're interested in a career, whether it be film or audio production, you have to understand that it's a ladder, know, and that when you graduate, you're not at the top of that ladder yet. That's the beginning. That's the first rung,
Exactly.
And so how do you get that through, I don't want to say through their heads because that sounds negative, but how do you talk to them about that?
I won't even say that. I don't think that's negative. I mean, because, we were both students. We understand, like, that reality check. Yeah. Like, when you graduate from recording arts or you graduate from digital film, you might not be Spielberg. And you might not be Dr. Dre. Yeah. Entrepreneurship is very important, in my opinion, as far as dreams are concerned. But while you're chasing your dream, you need to make sure that you're working in the field that you love and have a passion for in order to fuel the stuff that you want. And I always try to stress that, like, understand, like, you might want to be a producer, you might want to be an audio engineer, you might want to be a rapper or whatever, but until you get to that point, why not have a career in the field that you love to get you to that point, and the people that you'll meet along the way, versus working at Walmart, struggling as an artist, not getting paid for your craft that you paid so much money to go to school for. Like, be serious about what you're doing. You're paying your money to go to school here. You have help and assistance. Utilize it, and you never know where something can take you.
In my case, something that really helped was I was genuinely in love with the craft, right? And it really consumed me. And just constantly thinking about what can I do, not just to improve my own skill set, but also to prepare myself for the real world. And again, managing my expectations about where I'm going to go straight out of school was very important to me. And speaking of that, my first job was at a small advertising agency in Dallas, and it wasn't glamorous at all. Thankfully, it was actually a lead that was given to me by MediaTech from Eric Julie's, the head of the program, or the film program in Dallas, and it was cutting car dealership commercials, like those really heavy slam commercials that you see on late night TV. And we'd had to churn through like 10 or more a week, and it was really, really heavy and really going fast for very little, or I mean not very little. It was the pay that you would expect coming right out of school, and I think that was an excellent reality check of where the career path lies, right? Yeah.
And another reality check I try to give guys, they're like, oh, I need to make X amount of dollars an hour in order to survive. This is not the industry where entry level you're just going to make a ton of money, especially not in film, and especially not in recording arts. Entry level jobs, you're just as likely to get the same pay as you would working in corporate America entry level.
And I think you got to understand that sometimes, although that you should be smart about it, sometimes your pay for a job is the connection you're making.
Exactly. Our stress networking is very, 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 very important. And I try to put that in their minds as soon as they get here. I tell them to look at every single person that's in your classroom with you. These are going to be the same people who will probably be able to assist you and help you out the most once you graduate. Yeah. Because, for instance, if we were in the same program, you might get a job at XYZ, I might get a job at ABC, and through networking, if ABC needs something, I can call you. If XYZ needs something, you can call me. Or there could be that one person or two people who didn't get a job, and as soon as the first people you're going to think about, oh well, I had a classmate named da 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 and he was excellent. Hey man, they're looking for such so and so, or they'll call MediaTech and let me know that they have an opening. And it's just that small network is very important to have that.
Yeah, absolutely. So for someone, I think we could briefly touch on each of the programs separately. But if you have an audio student, like we said originally, that was where they need to be skill set wise and has all the qualities that you think will best be needed for you to find them or help find them a job. What does that career most likely start, and like what are the first steps towards a successful career in audio?
Well, a successful career in audio really looks like here in Houston, there's a lot of live sound gigs, audio visual tech gigs, and mastering gigging is important. You can work for multiple companies, keep you busy, probably end up making more money than you would working in an office or corporate America. Signal flow is very important, whether you're in the studio, whether you're doing live sound, whether you're scoring or anything like that. So signal flow is something that a lot of our recording art students need to learn. Post-production, but mostly live sound.
That's interesting you say that. And if you are interested, you're hearing this, and you want to learn more about live sound, we just did a podcast with Eric and Benji, instructors here in Houston.
So my guys.
Yeah, they're awesome. Feel free, if you're on YouTube, click the link in the description to check that out. If you're elsewhere, just search it. It'll be on our library. But so live sound is really important here in Houston.
It is. We have a lot of venues. Houston is a hot spot for a lot of bands and artists, and it's Unfortunately, there's a revolving door in those industries because there are so many people who don't take that part serious. But if you do, you will forever have a job.
And live sound is so important for someone that wants to be a producer, or like in-studio producer someday, you know?
Definitely.
They get that experience with different genres, different mixes, how to work with bands and artists. Again, if you want to learn more about that, check out that other podcast. But I would ask the same question about film. How do you best set them up for a career in Houston?
So in Houston, you have to understand our market, oil and gas. So you have... instructional videos, you have commercials, and then also we have a Houston Independent Film Coalition. Like, there's a group of people who just make a lot of different independent films and movies and stuff. They're always looking for people to shoot, audio guys, visual guys, grips, just multiple facets. Like, they just basically want a crew, and that kind of goes back to the networking aspect that I was speaking of, because if you're smart, if you're a film guy, you'll go to the audio department and get you a good audio guy, and vice versa.
Yeah,
because the film guys can open up doors for you that you probably never knew were there or open.
Yeah, absolutely.
You see what I mean?
And I think the one thing that is great about MediaTech is the level of collaboration that's kind of spontaneous that can be achieved here, you know, like, and both the Dallas and Houston locations, they're laid out in such a way where it's very easy to run into someone from other programs that might be working on a project that you would be a perfect match for, even if you're not in that program.
Exactly.
You know? And there are still instructors and students that I work with and talk to on a very regular basis from my time at MediaTech, and that was 7 years ago.
Yeah.
So with animation, I assume that the sort of initial path, specifically in Houston, is very similar to the film, right?
Yes, that is probably the most difficult field to be in Houston.
Really?
Yeah. So that's another thing. Like, I don't think the class that I graduated from really understood the power of working with film. The class before that, we used to do, last year we did a 48-hour film festival. A couple years before that, we did a 48-hour film festival. And I think this was prior to us even having an animation course. And they were teaching us some animation stuff just for visual effects in film. And we didn't get the opportunity because that year they didn't do the 48-hour film festival. But it would have been a great opportunity for us to do so, because we would have been able to see what it is that we could contribute to, films. Whether it's, fire coming from a gun in a shooter, a scene in the movie, or, I don't know, just all type of visual effects. And that's stuff that we could have helped with. Yeah. There's not much, and it's risky because you go out on a limb, and then there's another thing that you can honestly benefit from is you kind of learn graphic design as well as animation.
Yeah.
And your graphic design work will lead up to your animation, which will lead up to your 3D animation. And that graphic design foundation, you can work for marketing companies. I had a short contract with a cement company here in Houston. I did all the presentations. Like, there's stuff that you can do. You just have to be creative and go out and find it.
That's a really important thing to touch on, is creativity when you're trying to find a job is everything, especially no matter what media field you're in. If it's a creative field, you're going to have to be creative about finding a job within that field, you know? And I like that you said that about graphic design, because that's a good springboard into other animation jobs, like you said, because that'll really flex that design muscle that's extremely necessary.
Right.
And I found in Dallas, there's a huge market for motion graphics.
Yes.
Which is something that you'll learn on the program with After Effects and all of that, and graphic design. So that's definitely, I think, a great place for people to go look for jobs.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
I always give them the option. if you're willing to move, I don't know what your family situation is, but if you're young, you don't have any kids, you're not married, you're not tied down, travel, explore, learn, meet people, network, find out what works for you. Like, literally, I had to literally make it work. When I got that contract, I had to convince people I was worth paying.
Yeah.
I got paid pretty well for it, and it worked out. So it's just that, like you said, the passion that you have for it, it's the same thing. Like, if you really love what you're doing and you're passionate about it, it'll work. It'll happen.
Absolutely.
You just have to try. People that don't try, it doesn't work out. You have to try. And that kind of goes back to, like, cementing things in people's heads. Like, it's not going to be a situation where, oh, I've graduated. All right, I know somebody's going to give me a job. No.
Exactly.
No one gives you a job.
There's
you have to earn that job.
Yeah, totally. There's a kind of corny Wayne Gretzky quote that comes to mind. It's, you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take.
Exactly.
And that's one thing. I love that you touched on that, because that's where I see a lot of people, not necessarily graduates, but just people that are in this industry go dormant or stagnant in their career, is because they think that they've just graduated college. Now I'm going to get a ton of offers. You know, you have to go out there. It
doesn't work like that.
You have to be an entrepreneur, and you're selling yourself.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
So, like, can you speak to a little bit about the importance of entrepreneurship?
So entrepreneurship, I think, is the best way to utilize the tools that you learn here at MediaTech. It's not the most, flashy job. A lot of the work or a lot of the things we teach our students are like behind the scenes stuff. You're not going to get a whole bunch of credit. You probably won't be recognized at award shows.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't the job for somebody that wants attention. You get the job done. You probably set it up. You work through it. You break it down, and you go home. And it's a living just like anything else. And I don't think people understand, like, the importance of putting yourself in position and the luxuries of actually being an entrepreneur. You set your own schedule. You set your pay. You work at your own pace. However much money you want to make, you can make it. It's up to you.
Yeah, 100%.
It's fully dependent upon yourself. And I think, you can open so many doors, not only for yourself, but for other people, if you try to work your own business. And I think that's very important, especially, in all of the courses that we provide here at MediaTech. Like, I think it's an option. It's a valuable option to even, like, you got to try it at least. Yeah,
I totally agree. And I've worked a lot of different jobs since graduating. Or not a lot. I've worked a few different jobs since graduating, mostly for companies, like in-house places. And just in the last few months, my wife and I took our freelance clients full time to build a business. And like you were saying, that those qualities that you have of making your own schedule, and I personally love dealing with the clients. Like, I know that a lot of people are like, oh, I don't want to deal with clients, but I really like that. Building positive relationships, and one leads to another, and this whole sort of ecosystem starts to develop.
Right.
And that's not to say that working in-house at a company is wrong.
No, it's not. Not at all.
If you could find that, that's awesome. And
there's benefits to both.
Exactly.
Like, being employed through a company, there's consistency there. There's some type of blanket.
Yeah.
You kind of understand what you're getting into. It's consistent. Working for yourself, I'm pretty sure you could testify, like, at a certain point, it's just like you're all over the place.
Absolutely. It's different.
Yeah, because I opened up a studio, and oh my gosh, bro, that was so hard. I was always at work. I don't think people realize how much work you have to put into it.
Absolutely.
You can't graduate and charge people $80 an hour. No. You're going to be clientless after a while. Like, there are a lot of mistakes you got to learn. Like, you got to work your way up. Even as an entrepreneur, you still have to work your way up. There's still a ladder. And I don't think a lot of people realize that.
Yeah, totally. And I think one thing, though, that's super positive, whether it's you're an entrepreneur or you're working in-house at a company or whatever, even though your early career, whether you're in audio production, film, any of the other animation, whatever you're doing, it's going to be pretty grueling at first, right? Yeah. But once you get there and you start getting your feet on the ground and start making your own decisions and you know, getting the trust of your network of whoever you might know,
right,
it's so gratifying.
It is.
You know, that
the day I had more work than I had time.
Yeah.
I sat back, I was like, wait.
It's a good problem.
This is awesome.
You know?
I'm turning people down.
Yeah.
Like, this is great.
I love that.
Yeah. So, yeah, this it's very rewarding.
Absolutely.
Very, very rewarding.
And I think a lot of people that might be considering coming to a school like MediaTech could identify with this, that I am very much the kind of person that if I am not creatively stimulated, I get depressed, you know, like I fall, it's really dark, you know, it's like I just feel useless and not happy about anything, and much to my wife's chagrin sometimes, is she's sitting back there behind the cameras, I'll be, you know, we'll be working all day for a client, which I love, and that's creatively stimulating to me, but then when we're done, I'll go up and open up an After Effects project that I'm just working on. I'll be in on the office for hours until she's like, you have to come eat dinner or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
That's just the kind of person that I am. And I think that a career in media arts, I'll just say that, open-ended, is, at least to me, and to the kind of person that I can identify with, that is so gratifying. It's a lot of hours and it's a lot of work, but it's totally worth it.
Yeah, like same thing last night. I was working on flyers while bouncing down a podcast session that I had, and you know, it's just always constantly being busy, looking up, oh wow, it's been 4 hours already, you know what I'm saying? Like, all of those moments, and it's fun.
Absolutely.
Especially when you love doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
And a great part of me having the position that I have here at MediaTech, I love helping people as well. So it's like, I network a lot. I always go out and meet people. MediaTech is always branded on me, whether it's my lanyard or, you know, the what is it, the fragrance, the air freshener for the car. Yeah, like, you know, and I'm always trying to put our students in a better position than they were when they got here.
I love that.
So it's cool. That part is rewarding for me as well. Like, I actually love my job. Like, I love walking in here and just going hard to find jobs that they want. And when I get a placement, I'm like, yes.
Man, I love that. That is so awesome.
Yeah.
So last question for anybody that might be listening to this, whether they're in high school or an adult, you know, they might be into their own career, whatever, but they're interested in a career in media arts. What would you say to them, and why is MediaTech the place they should go?
Well, I'll just speak from, I guess, my heart, my experience here, because that's all I know. MediaTech is a family environment. It's been so many things for me, you know, like bad days, good days. I could always come here, and it just kind of takes me out of whatever I'm dealing with outside of these doors.
Yeah.
And the people here are very knowledgeable. The people here are very cool. Like, we have so many, I won't say famous, but we have so many equipped people that have accolades that you wouldn't even, you know walking into the building. Very humble, reserved, calm, chill. It's just a great environment. Like, if this is what you want to do, or if you somewhat feel like this is what you want to do, by the time you graduate, you'll be steered in a direction. And even if you think this is what you want to do, by the time you graduate, you'd be like, dang, I didn't know anything about post-production. Or, dang, I didn't know anything about, YouTube. That could be a job for you. Or, like, there's so many things that you will learn that you just probably didn't even think about. Like,
yeah.
And I think that's the thing. Like, you have teachers who are actually active, who do this every day, and they take the time out of their day to come and teach you.
And they'll answer all of your questions.
All of them.
It's so
all
awesome.
of them. Yeah.
That was one thing that struck me. Like my first day coming in, I was super nervous straight out of high school.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh man, I'm going to go to film school and I'm going to learn all this stuff. And I come into class and it was just like, I look around and it felt so comfortable. You know,
Right.
It was just an immediately inviting place. The instructors were there was no barrier that you
Right,
might feel
right.
elsewhere. You know, like
Yeah.
you're not afraid to go ask them the most ridiculous questions that you might
Right.
have, and
Yeah.
you're encouraged to do so.
Exactly.
You know, and I treasured my time here, and I'm not just saying that because I'm biased. It's an actuality, but yeah. So if you are interested, if you're listening to this, you are interested in checking out MediaTech. There are campuses in Dallas and Houston.
Correct.
The programs offered are audio or what is it?
Recording arts.
Recording arts. Yes. I'm going to cut that out. The courses offered are recording arts, digital film and video, mobile app development, soon to be acting. There's web design and animation. It's growing, and it's a great place to be. And they are very happy to walk you through. If you're watching this on YouTube, we are in the Gold Room at Houston, and this is just one of the many incredible facilities available to students. They're like, when you walk in, it feels like you're in a real studio, and that's because you are in a real studio. You know, and there are equally awesome facilities for all of the other programs offered. And you basically get down and have studio time within your first semester. You know,
Now that is a plus.
Absolutely.
So just a quick story, because I know you're wrapping it up.
No, you're good.
A friend of mine, it's crazy. We're born a day apart. Our birthdays are literally like, my birthday is on the 2nd, his is on the 3rd. The same year. And we both ended up going to tech schools.
Yeah.
He went to another school. I'm not going to mention that name of the other school. I attended MediaTech. He came to visit me one day. He's like, wait, who's running our session? I said, I am. He's like, bro, we haven't even been in the studio. Like, you're allowed to be in the studio? I was like, man, I was in the studio day 3. Like, I was touching stuff on the 3rd day.
That is so cool.
Like, it's hands-on. It's aggressive.
Yeah.
In a good way.
Absolutely.
Like, the learning curve is aggressive. Like, you get at it. You don't sit around in the classroom and get lectured for 4 hours for 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Before you get in the studio. Like, it's great because we understand, like, however you learn, you'll get that. If you need to be lectured, we lecture. Not as much, but we do.
Yeah. I mean, there are things that you have to be lectured on. You know?
Exactly. Of course, yeah. If you're a visual learner, you have that. If you're a physical learner, if you need to touch and, mess with stuff, you'll get all of that. And quickly.
And the one amazing thing about the film program too is that the students not only have access to those cameras, they learn them in stages obviously, but they not only have access to those basically from day one, but you can check them out and go do your own stuff, and you're encouraged to do that, you know, and it's really not just teaching you the sort of book work behind, whether it be audio production, film, whatever, but it's teaching you how to interact with clients and really make your career. And I think that's one thing that's a huge plus and that's kind of unique about MediaTech.
Yeah, they give you a lot of real world situations. I know for sure in the film department, you guys make a movie.
Yeah.
Like, they actually make a movie, audio. We score a movie.
So cool.
We also do, like, we replace with a lot of ADR. We'll replace all of the sounds. I did Blade too. That was so fun.
That must have been hard.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't that hard. Well, I picked the easy scene. I'm not gonna lie. There was a lot of dialogue and it wasn't much action, but that was fun. And having bands come in, being able to, mix a live band on the spot or record a band in our gray room. It's just fun. Like, there's so much stuff. You'll get cultured. You'll learn about so many different types of music, different genres. Especially, like, the whole audio thing. Like, it's not just music. It's audio. So, whether that's a footstep or a violin, if a microphone can be put to it and you can record that, that's the part that I think they learn and understand, like, oh snap, it's more to audio than just recording a song.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's cool. That's real cool.
Yeah, and I mean, it sets you up so well. I mean, you get on the ground experience, you know?
Yep.
So,
yeah.
But yeah, so again, if you're interested in checking it out, go to MediaTech.edu. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel in addition to these podcasts, which are also available on all the other platforms. If you're listening, please subscribe there. But again, on YouTube, we're going to have 2-minute tutorials every Friday. Last week,
that's awesome.
It's really cool, man. Last week, we did one, how to make your footage look more cinematic with your own custom transitions. Really cool. In 2 minutes, you learn how to do that.
Sweet.
This Friday, day after tomorrow, which will already be up by the time this podcast goes up, but we're doing high and low pass filters explained by one of our instructors in Dallas, Mike.
Awesome.
And so we're going to be doing tutorials every single Friday over a different aspect of one of the programs. So it's going to be really cool. In addition to that, we're doing what's called Grad You Did, which are little mini docs about graduates that are doing awesome things out in the real world.
Cool.
We did one about Nagaris Johnson. He's an instructor in Dallas, former graduate of the Recording Arts program in Dallas. Super inspirational guy. And you can also listen to his podcast. But yeah, just make sure you subscribe, hit the bell icon, and we're going to be doing a lot more podcasts on a weekly basis. Lots of great content coming up. So thank you again so much, Arian, for being on the podcast, and I'm sure we'll be talking to you again soon.
Awesome.
Cool, man. Thank you so much.
All right, thanks.